Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. This time it's written and directed by Stuart Gillard. Now the plot is that the Turtles have to go back in time, all because April bought this scepter and she accidentally turned it on, which sent her back to Japan in 1603. Now apparently they only have 60 minutes to go and get her, because if not, then the scepter will lose its powers due to the space-time continuum, blah 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 blah. If the plot of this movie sounds convoluted, that's because it is.
You were expecting maybe the Addams Family?
If you couldn't tell, I do not care for this movie. I just don't think it's that good of a movie. When you think of the plot and it's time travel, you go, well, really a time travel in your third installment? That's when you know that they ran out of ideas.
Talk about your quantum leap!
The problem, or one of the many problems with this movie, is that it's boring. It's boring, and that's one of the worst things that you could say about a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. I don't know, but when I watch this movie, I'm like, there's nothing really going on here. And when I think about watching all of them, I'm like, this has the least amount of action. You don't see the Turtles do that much.
Uh-oh, this doesn't bode well.
Some of the other complaints, randomly, Splinter, the voice of Splinter in this movie is horrible. They, for some reason, didn't bring back the guy who did it in the first two films. This movie, it's insanely obvious that's not the same guy, which makes me go like, wow, can you guys even try to get someone to sound similar at least? But speaking of voices, Corey Feldman, who did the voice for Donatello in the first film, returned for the voice in this movie. He didn't do the second one, probably because he was holding out for more money, and when they said, fuck you, we're just going to make the movie without you, he came back begging to do the third one. One compliment I can give this movie, though, is that they brought Casey Jones back. Thank fucking God, because Lord knows I was pissed off when he didn't show up and wasn't mentioned in the second film. You see him in here, it was cool to have the actor back, but ultimately Casey Jones himself doesn't do much, because when the Turtles go back into time, they send back these Japanese guys who are there, and Casey Jones basically has to babysit them. That's like, I don't really care about any of that that's going on. Now the studio must have felt really bad for keeping him out of the second film, because in this movie, not only does the actor play Casey Jones, but they had him play this character Wit in the Japanese past version. And that character doesn't really do anything either.
How are we gonna get home?
Somebody dial 911.
I have a feeling we're gonna be here for a very long time.
And the Turtles, I'm not going to say it's the Turtles' fault. I mean, they don't do anything that bad or that different. Some of their jokes did catch me by surprise and make me laugh.
A Legorama.
But I will admit, their jokes and the material for them is at its weakest. And it sucks, because even though I'm not the biggest fan of the second film, I don't think it's a bad movie. So they had the chance to take the third film and make it really good so we can have a pretty solid trilogy of the Turtles. But no, and even the audiences were starting to realize that. The gross for the first film was over $200 million. Wow. That's huge for 1990. And then the gross for the second film was $78 million. So you could see the decline with the sequel. But this gross was at an all-time low. This only made $42 million. Ouch.
My cannons can destroy these monsters, my lord.
And oh yeah, the villain. I forgot to talk about the villain. That's probably because I barely remember the villain, and I literally just got done watching the movie, but the guy is just there. He's there, he doesn't do anything, he's not a capable villain, and I guess it sucks because you kill off Shredder, and they literally have no good ideas for a villain. They literally don't have a villain for these Turtles.
Hey, alright. It's not just a job, it's an adventure.
So I guess technically I should say fuck you to this movie. But to be perfectly honest, I used to own all of these Ninja Turtles movies on VHS as a kid. I used to rewatch them all the time, including this one, so I can't even count how many times as a kid I saw this film. Maybe that part of me can appreciate it in a certain way. I kind of remember as a kid watching it. I didn't like it as a kid. I think I just tolerated it because I liked the turtles.
This is the worst rescue I've ever had.
I think I swallowed a frog.
So ultimately, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, it's a big disappointment. So guys, let me know in the comments below what you think of the third film. And as always, thanks for watching. Later!
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3.
Help, I'm a turtle and I can't get up.